When Gina and I were observing you, Mark, with Victor and Anthony in the mastermind.
Yes. Oh, this
was a mastermind
sexy.
With some VIP attendees at Outbound. Gina and I were at the back of the room observing and just passing notes back and forth like, this is so sexy.
Like little girls. We were little girls.
Look how sexy they are, like bantering off of each other. It's the sexiest thing.
Was there a question there, Rachel?
I know. What am I supposed to do with that? I really don't know.
Hey, Warners, welcome to another episode of The Women Your Mother Warned You About.
The podcast that makes business sexy again.
I'm Gina Tremarco, Master Sales Trainer and Director of Coaching at Sales Gravy.
And I'm Rachel Pitts. I am a master sales coach at Sales Gravy and creator of Your Ultra Fit Lifestyle. And we've got the hunter, the sales hunter, Mark Hunter on our show today.
I love some Mark Hunter. Like, he is the coolest, funnest. He's just a cool dude, and he's a smart dude, and there's so much about him. I'm just going to throw some things out there. He was born to be in sales because his birth certificate says hunter. He's a hunter, and that's what he's been in his sales career, and his journey includes multiple sales and leadership roles with 3 Fortune 500 companies. And there is just so much about him. And he created the name The Sales Hunter more than 20 years ago.
He also has 3 best-selling books called High Profit Selling, High Profit Prospecting, and a book that we were trying to get him to talk about in this episode called A Mind for Sales. And I swear he wanted to talk about anything but this book that we were trying to get him to talk about, which is a fantastic book. And he's just so sweet and so funny and has such an engaging and warm personality. It's no wonder that he is a great salesperson as well.
I agree, Rachel. One of the things I loved best about him, meeting him in person at Outbound, is how truly authentic and warm and sweet he is. Just like all of the speakers at Outbound. And that's what I love about Outbound, because it brings all of these different sales experts and thought leaders together. And they truly care about people. And he was really awesome to us in helping us with our live stream at Outbound. And what I love about this episode is we talk a lot about a lot other than his book, but we talk a lot about the importance of caring and how that is a major theme in sales if you want to be successful.
Yep. Mark says that sales is all about helping customers see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. And he's got some really great tips in this episode. Once we get over some of the funny stories about the importance of authenticity and empathy and just learning to shut up and listen.
Which, none of us were really shutting up. I mean, you were shutting up, Rachel, but me and Mark, yippity yappity, yippity yappity. You know what, Warners, you're just going to have to sit back and go on the ride from mortuaries to marketing. That's what this episode is about with Mark Hunter. You know what was my favorite part about Outbound? And I guess I should know this. Can people still buy virtual tickets? Like replay?
Yes.
Yeah, they can. So that's a good opportunity to go buy tickets to go to Outbound that you missed and take advantage of all that amazing content, including when Mark Hunter ambushed us during the Women Your Mother Warned You About live at Outbound.
And I was referred to as being E.T. sitting between you. Did you hear that too?
Yes, you were.
Yes.
Who said that? Did Jeb say that?
Jeb said. It's funny because I didn't want to stick around, and I don't know if it was Gina, you or you, Rach, but no, stay. I was planning just to be there for a couple minutes and then leave.
Oh, well, we were glad you stayed.
I didn't want to upstage. My job was to compliment and support you, not upstage.
Oh, there was everybody on that stage that day was upstaging us, and we were glad for it because it was such that podcast live broadcast of the podcast, if you will, was so full of energy and fun. I loved it so much, and I'm glad you were a part of it.
And all I can say is that Judith hit me up afterwards for like a dozen of my books.
Well.
And it was like, I was fine. I was happy to give them.
Well, you know what happened? You guys, all y'all.
Is that plural or is that singular? All y'all?
All y'all's plural, and I'm from Chicago, but I live in the South now. All y'all got crazy with your giveaways, and then we're like, don't forget our virtual audience, which I would love to talk to you about, because this is my next blog article, is our new hybrid world. Because one of the things that showed up for Rachel and I, like we did our live stream the first day, and then the second day, well, we forgot on the first day that we forgot the virtual audience. And they were like, oh my God,
because they're virtual.
They're not there.
Right. And then the second day we're like, okay, virtual audience. And then everyone's giving things away. And we're like, what about the virtual audience? And they were in it. And they were like, yeah, I want a shirt. I want a book. And like poor Judith wanted to kill us. She was at the bottom of the stage like, what are you guys doing?
I took care of her. I gave her a dozen books. So I took care of it. Hey. I step up and take care of the virtual audience.
And thank you for that.
I take care of the invisible people because I'm used to being invisible myself.
Well, let's dive into that, Mark Hunter. Let's dive. Why are you used to being invisible?
I'm joking. I have no idea. I'm just.
Are you making up shit now?
Because you're not tall enough, people never notice you because you're.
Yeah, people don't know. People always say, man, you're a lot taller like you look like in your LinkedIn photo. Well, no joke. I mean, jeez. I mean, give me a break.
I met someone the other day, and for whatever reason, I didn't anticipate that this person would be short. And it was literally like I had to hold myself back from saying out loud, "Wow, you're a lot shorter than I thought you might be." Like I had to literally like.
See, that's like the fatal sin of telling any kind of any female, "Hey, congratulations on being pregnant." And finding out that they're not pregnant.
Yeah, you just don't ever say that. Even if they're obviously pregnant, just don't say it.
You never. That is a man rule that every man has violated once in their lifetime, and all they have to do is violate it once, and they'll never violate it again. But you never comment on a woman's pregnancy until she tells you she is pregnant. Period. See, I'm just full of advice here. See, I'm just
brought to you by Mark Hunter, the man behind A Mind for Sale.
$5. There you go. You're up to $10 now. Mm-hmm. Oh, but she's holding up the book. See, there it is. Whoa!
Ooh, was it signed? Copy too.
Of course.
Well, signed. It's a signed copy.
Gina is touting your fabulous book. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what is A Mind for Sales? And why should people read it?
Well, why should I tell you? Because that joke could go bad real quickly. So we won't continue down that path.
Now I'm curious.
Okay. No, I was just saying, first you have to have a mind.
Oh. Typical blonde joke.
Nah, hey, you were the one that just implied that one. Man.
Dang.
This show is going to get cut short. Yes.
No, you got to be careful. This show can get cutthroat. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. Speaking of cutthroat and women your mother warned you about, I think we should dive in here, Rachel, and ask him that important question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How would you describe a woman your mother warned you about, Mark?
A few of the women I dated in college.
Well, wait a second.
Tell us more about that.
And we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. So yeah, there was,
Your mother warned you about that?
Well, my mother, yeah.
She should have.
She should have. Yeah. Maybe she didn't warn me enough. So. Oh. But college. Need we say more?
I didn't go to college, so maybe you should tell us more about that.
I think you should tell us more about that.
I had fun. Hey, okay, good friend of yours, Victor Antonio. We were commenting about college, and he said, "Mark, I didn't know that about you." And it was funny because I was we were talking about high school. In high school, I was into what we referred to as white collar crime. I didn't do the blue collar stuff. We did the white collar stuff. We did the really elaborate stunts. And then when I got to college, we just put it on steroids. And probably the best one was when we took a guy who had just been dinking around with us all year. And we took him to the mortuary. And we took him to the cooling room, the embalming room, where 2 stiffs had just been brought in. And we tied him down to a gurney with these 2 stiffs around him and left him there.
For how long?
Oh, we left the rope. We left the rope a little loose so he could get out in about 30 seconds. But let me tell you something. What he screamed, it was unbelievable. And then to make matters worse, now this is what's really creepy. This is many years ago when you could get away with this. I mean, today you would go to jail. We needed to have proof that we actually took him. Ron Post was the gentleman's name, that we took him to the mortuary. So we went back in and posed for pictures with the 2 stiffs. And Randy Endicott, I don't know if Randy Endicott, Ron Post was from the Bay Area. Randy Endicott was from kind of the lower part of Washington State, southwest part of the state. And Randy Endicott, he took off his letterman's jacket and draped it over one of the stiffs. And we took a picture of about the 5 or 6 of us with these 2 stiffs. Now, could you imagine doing that today? I mean, first of all, video camera, it would never happen.
Right.
You would go to jail. But that was the type of stuff I did in college.
How did you get into the mortuary?
We had a friend who lived there. We had a friend who lived there.
Lived at the mortuary?
This was back in those days. Back in those days, there'd be a resident in the mortuary.
Just to make sure nobody got away.
Just to make sure that nobody got, well, in case somebody wanted to come and visit a body, whatever. And this was very common. So he and 2 bodies had just arrived. It'd be a few hours before the undertakers came and, took care of the bodies. So that was all we needed. So we took Ron Post. His nickname in college was Compost. We called him Compost in college. And took him. This was in Seattle. This was, I'll go and say the name, Butterworth's Mortuary. I have no idea if Butterworth's Mortuary is still there. It was up on Capitol Hill.
Sounds like a cracker company. But
believe me, I mean, the stuff I did yeah. So anyway, this is totally boring for people. But
I don't know. It's not boring to me.
There was some bizarre stuff.
So, well, what did you major in college? Did what you major in college directly lead to sales?
As little, no. Yeah. If you read my book, you would know that I majored in marketing because it was the easiest thing. Well, actually, because I wanted to be a disc jockey. And I thought if I got a degree in marketing, I would write advertising copy and I could do voiceover. You're listening to Gina and Rachel. And I thought I could do voiceover. So
you know what? I had the same approach. I was a radio TV film major.
Yeah. It was a fun major, right?
It was super fun major. And I will say that I used my major. My major was effective for me between all the classes I took, because I took radio production, I took PR, I took writing, all the classes I took did truly and still serve me today, which I don't think a lot of people in college can say.
Well, no, I mean, I look back on the marketing classes I took. Hey, believe me, they were great. I mean, I look back. I mean, college was very beneficial for me, but then back then anything would have been beneficial for me. When you start out low, you can work your way up. It just looks good. But yeah, I think it helped me.
Here we are. So let's talk about the sales hunter. You were destined to be a sales hunter.
Well, yeah, when you got the last name Hunter, I mean, come on. I mean, isn't that let's not kid ourselves. It's kind of a cool name.
It's a great name.
It's a super cool name.
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, you just had to I had to run with it. And yeah.
Did you thank your parents for that?
Have I I don't know. I guess so. Probably. I don't know. But yeah.
Some people think it through. My kid has a great stage name.
Oh, I love her name.
What's her name?
Her name is Roxy Tipton. I mean, if that is not
Roxy Tip, that's cool. That's cool.
Isn't that the greatest stage
but
name
see, now
ever?
that's a stage name. See, I didn't have to change my name. And I was born. I came out of the womb. You're a hunter.
Yeah, I love it.
And because I'm a product of the 60s, Mark was anytime you hear it, it is amazing how names are known by a generational. I mean, if you hear the name Mark,
true.
The guy was born probably in the 60s. Yeah.
Interesting. What are the popular names of 2021?
I don't know. Because I don't
2021. I guess we have to wait and see. I know that there was the Britney era where everybody named their kid Britney.
Oh, Britney.
That was like the 90s, 2000s, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Britneys, the Tiffanys, all the things.
I don't think there was a Rachel era. I think Rachel's biblical, so it's just, it's timeless.
Rachel's been there forever.
It's timeless.
And Gina is just Mediterranean.
Gina is a very common name in many Mediterranean countries, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. See?
It's like Kathy.
Like Kathy. There you go. See?
Yeah.
See, now your pose right now, Gina, it looks like you are ready to go live on WCBS Radio.
Well, I did do a stint in radio.
There you go. See? Yeah.
I produced a morning radio show as an intern, but it was like a top radio show in Chicago, which was super
for what station?
Cool.
Not and don't say WGN.
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, if you did WGN, wow, like, man,
that's old people stuff.
I know, but back then that was like the station.
I mean, it was cool. No, WKQX with Murphy in the morning.
Murphy in the morning. Okay.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool show to do. Like I got bit by the bug. And honestly, that's another reason why I started podcasting. I'm like, I missed radio. I'm like, I'll have a podcast.
Oh, I tell you what, morning drive radio. I mean, it's a kick in the pants.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're teamed up with the right people, you got the right mix. It's there's just something special about it. I mean, back in the days when everybody was listening to radio on the way to work. Yeah.
Back in the day, that happened.
Back in the day.
And it was fun in that internship because Murphy in the Morning was just kind of wild and out there, and it was an adult contemporary format. But he would when the producer was off, I'd fill in as producer. And then of course, I'd be like the sidekick girl, but I was like so young, and the way they would have at it with me. My mother would listen, and then she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're talking like that. I mean, it was crazy.
Well, because you just had to roll with it. I mean, what your place was. Look, you were the intern. Yeah. You suddenly had the mic in front of you, and it was just, yeah, I get it.
So fun. I loved it so much. And then they told me I could work there for $7 an hour, and I'm like, I'm out.
Oh, yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, radio does not pay well at all, period. I mean, it's, but you can get all, the only reason I liked it is because I got a ton of concert tickets, backstage passes, meet and greets, that type of stuff. But,
that was the fun stuff.
Right. I mean, that was a kick. I mean, all the meet and greets you got to do, and all the different, the swag you got, and free, like I said, free concert tickets.
Yep.
And
I could get access to everything.
Oh yeah. Oh man. And you had friends galore, because they'd always say, hey, got an extra ticket, and yeah.
It served me well.
Adult contemporary. Now that is so funny, because adult contemporary means different things in different markets of the country. I mean, that's what's so funny. I mean, it's like somebody described what adult contemporary is.
I mean, does that even apply today? I don't know. We're talking early 90s when and back then I went from that whole internship in television production, all those things, and then I ended up being a marketing director, and then I ended up being a media buyer. And
media buyer. Hold it. Media buyer. There you get a lot of freebie stuff.
Oh, you have no idea.
Man, there's not a party that goes on in town that you're not invited to. Yeah.
Exactly. And my everybody that I bought from, I know it's gonna be really hard to believe, but all the different radio stations and television stations, I bought radio, TV, billboard, print, pretty much everything. But my radio sales reps were like, hey, Gina, we have a suite for the Bulls game, and we want you to come because you're the fun client. I never was the biggest client, but I was the fun client that they wanted in the room with the rest of the clients.
Right.
So I got invited.
You got invited
To
media,
everything.
And the best media buyers were always under the age of 26 or 27 because they could party hardy into the evening, late at night.
Yep.
And so now, were you working for an agency or what?
No, I was internal. So I actually was media buying under the role as the marketing director for a live theater show. So
great.
I actually bought from multiple live theater shows because we had different shows cycling in and out. That's how I got into live theater through marketing that way. And then I got into attraction marketing. But media buying fell into my realm of things that I had to do.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of work with Blue Man Group. They were fun to work with.
Yes.
Oh, they were fun to work with.
Great show.
Great show. Because what we did was we recreated the ticket buying experience to really be part of the show.
Oh.
In other words, the whole idea, the group I was working with was most of their ticket sales are group sales. And they had four at that time. They had 4 permanent shows and 2 traveling shows, I believe it was. Anyway, but mostly it's groups. It's groups.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that we did was, as I said, wait a minute, hold. Blue Man Group is such a special experience. We're going to make the ticket buying, whether you're working with a meeting planner, HR department, tour, DMC, whoever it is, make that part of the experience. And we did that. I mean, it was just, it was cool. It was.
Well, tell us more about that because I think that's
because
cool.
Here's the whole thing. People would buy. Okay, I need to get a block of 50 tickets for this show and so forth. And here's the thing. No, make that part of the show. Engage with them. Find out about them. Talk. When you have that ticket buying experience be part of it, then what do? They tell, oh, this is going to be so good. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. And then one of the things I also said is, look. When you come out of Blue Man Group show, you're higher than a kite.
Yes.
You just are on fire.
Yeah.
And I said, the next day is when you got to follow up with them. Yeah, but no. The next day is when you follow up with them because that's when you book their next tour. That's when you book their next trip. That's when you and we just made it part of the process, and it changed dramatically. Their ability to retain people, to retain salespeople, because now they felt they were part of Blue Man Group. But B, it increased their sales performance tremendous, and repeat sales went through the roof because we did this the next day, immediate follow-up. Yeah.
I love that. This is a great segue into the power of creating experience in sales to continue the sales. I did a workshop today, my What to Say When You Don't Know What to Say workshop, and I do a parallel I walk people through what being an improv performer looks like and how that completely transfers over into sales. And there's 7 tenets. And the last tenet is to perform for referrals and retention. Because when you give a really good experience on stage to the audience, just like you're talking about with Blue Man, and right, like improv is an interactive show like Blue Man, people walk out going, oh my gosh, this was amazing. We're coming back next year. We're telling our friends, we're going to go back to the hotel. And so how we show up and perform on stage brings us more business. Same thing as a salesperson. How are you performing to bring in repeat business where you're not like going after all new business?
Well, that's because what you're doing is you're emotionally connecting with the other person. And this is whether it's B2B, whether it's B2C, whatever. When I can have that dialogue with you and I allow my personality to come through, unless I'm the weird uncle or the crazy aunt in the family, I got a personality that's going to resonate. One of you two are that person. I'll talk with you later. But you allow your personality to come through. Now, not in a manner that's just bizarre, but just in a manner that's engaging and caring. And when you do that, it's amazing how the other person will come along with you. Because that's really what people want. People want to have genuine, authentic conversations. And that's really what improv is. It's genuine and authentic because it's not scripted. It's improv.
No,
it's improv is, it's you, it's however you feel right now. So it's genuine and authentic. So I'm all over what you said today. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And I had a couple of conversations this week where, when you're in a sales conversation and you say, I'm just going to be completely transparent here. And when you really are just completely, whether it's on, because it came to mind, I had a conversation. I was actually the buyer in this conversation. And when you start saying, like, letting the other person know that you're going to be completely open and transparent, then they're like, awesome, I'm glad you said that. And then they're going to be more open and transparent. And they feel like, okay, you're not just trying to get me to give you the credit card, and we're having a real conversation about real things.
Yeah. But you know what though? See, I got a little bit of a rub with that. Now, transparency is not so bad. But when people say, let me be honest with you. So like everything up to this point has been a bold-faced lie. I see. But now you're finally being honest with me. I mean, it's like, so I mean, how you said transparent, it was delivered empathetically. It was delivered genuine from you. But we have to watch that the words, are we emotionally backing up? Are we emotionally delivering and supporting the words we're saying? Otherwise, it's just words.
Mm-hmm. And are we genuinely curious about the answers that people are giving us?
Now you're trying to make sure that you're delivering that word genuinely with empathy. There you are. Yeah. Well, see, that's what's funny, because so many times people will, let me be transparent. I want to ask you a question. And then they hear the answer and they just motor past it. If you're really transparent and you're going to ask them a question, then you're going to ask them a follow-up question of what they shared with you. Mm-hmm. You're going to stick with whatever they shared with you and run with it and build on it. That's how you demonstrate that you care about the other person. Yeah. Don't sit there and say, oh, we really care about you. We really care. Well, no, demonstrate it by listening to what I say and asking me questions about what I say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think of all of the amazing sales leaders that Gina and I have interviewed over these last few years in our podcast, of which you are one, Mark. We have
only
the same.
Took 2 years to get on the show, so come on.
Finally,
we had to do a little sucking up first, but the underlying theme that when people ask me what's the key to sales, it's the same theme from just about everybody, is that you have to care and you have to listen. It's as simple as that. And most of the time, salespeople overcomplicate those two things.
And here's some words from our sponsor, Jeb Blunt at Sales Gravy.
Hi, this is Jeb Blunt. There's a reason why thousands of sales professionals and top companies across the globe hone their sales skills at Sales Gravy University. You see, Sales Gravy University is different than most learning platforms. First, we have live courses taught in a virtual classroom by our master trainers that start almost every single day. And our e-learning platform is populated with hundreds of hours of sales training content produced by some of the top sales trainers in the world, including Gina's spontaneous selling course, which is worth checking out. Now, I've got some good news. If you've never taken a course on Sales Gravy University, if you're a new user, you can take your very first course for free. That's any course on the platform, absolutely free. Just go to learn.salesgravy.com. That's learn.salesgravy.com, or click the e-learning tab in the top menu at salesgravy.com. Pick out your course, and when you check out, use coupon code FREECOURSE to get that course for free. That is free course to get your very first course for free.
Well, they overcomplicate because, everybody will sit there and say, oh, I care about your business. Oh, I care. I mean, give me a break, please. That's like printing on the bottom of a receipt. Thank you for your business. Give me a break. You got to live it. And you live it with eye contact. You live it with body language. You live it with tone of voice. You deliver it by not trying to be the person, but be a person who is supporting the person. And that's the customer. And I think that's one of the roles that we in sales have to understand. It's our job to make the customer look good.
Oh, you hit it, Mark Hunter. That is improv tenet number 1, is make other people look good.
Yeah.
Ring the bell.
Yeah. But see, isn't it amazing how so many salespeople, I mean, I did early on, the reason I got fired from my first several jobs was because I wasn't about making the customer look good. I just wanted their money, move on. Yeah.
People feel that.
Oh, people feel it. People
They
feel
do.
People
Yeah.
feel it.
I wrote about that
instantly.
in my How Not to Suck in Real Estate blog that went on Sales Grove recently, because I admit it. I sucked at selling in the beginning because I really didn't care. I just wanted my commission check. And
That's
I'm sure they felt it. I just didn't care at that point. Terrible.
I got a real estate story. This just flashes back into my mind. This goes way back, Knoxville, Tennessee. We were moving to Knoxville, Tennessee, and real estate agent there. We were working with a couple of agents, and this agent said, "Hey, I'll show you as many homes as you want." She thought she was doing her job. I'll show you, if you want to see 10 homes every day, I'll show you 10 homes every day. She thought that was doing her job. And it's like, lady, that's the last thing I want to do, is be looking at 10 homes every day for umpteen weeks until I find the home I like. That's your job. Find the home that's going to be right for me. Okay. Boom. Exit stage right. I mean, and it was so funny, but she was so full of herself, because I still remember, because she had a 2-door Firebird. Remember the Pontiac Firebird sports car?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Google, for those of you watching right now, Google Pontiac Firebird.
For you
2-door.
youngins.
And this is a real estate agent. Now, how in the world is this going to work? 2-door with not much of a backseat.
Especially you.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Where would we put your legs?
Well, I mean, again, because my wife was with me. So, yeah, and I want to be courteous, put my wife in the front seat. That means I got to curl up in the trunk. I mean, but you see, she was not, back to your first stage, making the customer look good by having my legs be scrunched into my chin, but B, taking the time to listen to what it was we were looking for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not wasting your time and dragging you all over creation. It's quality over quantity, not quantity over quality.
Exactly.
Not to mention, having been in real estate, there is no benefit to taking a customer to see 10 houses, because you're not going to be able to sort out which were the top 3.
Thank you.
You're going to be like, now, which one was that with the yellow cabinets?
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
That's like in sales in general, when we give too many things for the customer to consider, and they're like, I can't wrap my head around it. And Rachel and I just got off of a second call with a prospect that, while I was presenting a lot of stuff to her, part of it was kind of repeating back what I heard her say was important to her. And then I clumped it into 3 areas so that it would be easy to process, of like, this is what I heard you say is the most important to you, and this is how I see it, how it rolls out, with this being the most important priority of all of these things. And then, of course, her response was, oh, you nailed it. That's exactly what we were looking for. And then I'm like, all right, so and I kept, prefacing along the way, I'm going to bring you through this process. It's a lot to absorb. You need to absorb it. We're not going to have an answer today. We're probably going to need a couple more calls, right? I just kept taking her on the journey of, this is a lot to process. I'm going to take you piece by piece, and then you need to go absorb it, think about it, dial through it, and we're going to talk again in 2 weeks.
Gina's good, y'all. Gina's good. I was there for it.
yeah. But see, what was Gina doing?
Well, she was making it, and I was observing the prospect, and I could see her eyes kind of like glazing over of all this material. So Gina was helping guide her and say, hey, it's okay. I know this is a lot. We're working through it, because some salespeople will take a proposal, like it was a pretty complex proposal that we were presenting, and some salespeople might shove it down the person's throat and then ask for a signature and a credit card, and it's just way too much to absorb. So it was really, really well done in the way that Gina did keep coming back to, hey, I know this is a lot. It's just a starting point. We can rework all of this after you talk to your partners and all of that. It was just very well done. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. See, allow the customer to buy on their timetable. Now, it doesn't mean our job in sales isn't to accelerate their time. Our job is to accelerate the timetable. And that's why I say, we have to create that air of urgency. But here's the whole thing. You can't get them too far out of their comfort zone.
No.
because then they shut down. They just simply shut down.
They have to feel like they're in control.
Right.
Understandably.
And this is what's funny. They have to feel like they're in control.
Correct.
That's
feel.
the key
That's
word.
why I said feel.
That's
right?
the key word, because people always say, Mark, you want to let the customer drive. I go, yeah, I want to let the customer drive.
Mm-hmm.
I still know where the car's going, but I'm going to let them drive. And what does it do? It allows them to feel like they're in control.
Mm-hmm.
And they are, in turn, are going to develop more trust and confidence with me. They're going to share more information. I'm going to gain better insights. I'm going to understand their outcomes better. And I'm ultimately going to get them to their solution, which is not the product or service I'm selling. It's the outcome they want to achieve from the product or service I sell. That's where I want to get them.
Right.
Guys, Mark's good too. Man.
Add them up there. Let's add Mark's picture to the wall of salespeople. There you go.
The wall of dudes that know what they're doing. Well, let's shift for a second to I gotta talk about this, which will segue us into our closing questions. When Gina and I were observing you, Mark, with Victor and Anthony in the mastermind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
This was a mastermind with some VIP attendees at Outbound, and Gina and I were at the back of the room observing and just passing notes back and forth, like, this is so sexy,
like little girls. We were little girls.
Look how sexy they are, like bantering off of each other. Like, and my husband's like this too. When he's on a business call, if he's around me and he's on a business call, it's the sexiest thing to me. I just think it's so sexy. But it was just so wonderful to see you three playing off one another and really digging down into what these salespeople were working towards. And each of you had such a unique perspective. Like Victor would attack them and then Anthony would go over and protect them. And then you'd come in like Obi-Wan Kenobi and save the day. But yet it was quite a wonderful experience and just freaking sexy.
Was
there a question there, Rachel?
I know. What am I supposed to do with that? I really don't know. But see, that's a real good commercial to buy your VIP ticket for next year.
There you go. If you want to see this, and it might be for the men too, that they can learn how to be as sexy as Mark Hunter.
Can I? Well, let me share with you something on that, because we get a lot of comments back after we do that, and the comment is, you guys are competitors, but you're so comfortable with each other. Yeah, we are.
Say that, yeah.
We all have our own lane, and we're all very comfortable and confident with who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things, when you reach that point in sales, you move to the next level. Mm-hmm. You just moved, because now you're comfortable and confident, because, we were fielding questions that, I don't know where these are coming from, but we were running with them. And that's the whole premise. Talk about impromptu. That's impromptu, but you can't do that unless you're comfortable and confident.
Right. Well, and that applies for all salespeople in all situations. I think a lot of times salespeople see themselves in a competitive market, and they allow the competition to make them feel intimidated or make them feel jealous or make them feel like they need to work harder, what have you. As long as you know that you're confident in yourself, then the customer or the prospect is going to be attracted to who you are. I mean, people buy you. We know this. And you have to be very comfortable. And I think seems to me when people are just pitch slapping people, and just going straight to the jugular and trying to close the deal right away, they're just not confident in who they are and what they're really offering. They're just trying to push the product down someone's throat and get out of there.
Because they're more focused on the product than the outcome. See, they really don't care whether or not this product. I was just going to say,
they don't care.
They don't care. They don't care if this product is going to work for this person. All they want is the sale. And it's going to be their emotional high for making the sale and them moving on. I want the customer to have an emotional high from the decision.
I think that's why it takes me so, I don't want to say so long. I spend extra time. Rachel and I talked about this earlier today. I spend extra time working on proposals that we're going to do because I don't cookie cutter anything with our clients. I'm listening to what their desired outcomes are. And then I want to create something that makes the most sense for them. I could take a templated, this is what we offer, and call it a day. It's not going to resonate.
I'm still looking at the two of you. You got your headset on, both of you with the really fancy mics, and I think it's time we go to a traffic report or something like that. I keep.
Well, it's actually time for our closing questions, and the reason that I brought up how
we never talked
sexy
about my
you
book.
were.
We never talked about my book.
I tried in the beginning.
Don't worry about it. I could care less. Don't worry about it.
So wait. The reason that I brought up how sexy that you guys were in that mastermind is because of these upcoming questions.
Here we go.
The first of which, Mark, is how would you define the word sexy?
Cool. Something people want. Intimate relationship. I don't know.
Like it.
Does that pass?
There's
Anything
no right
goes.
There's no right or wrong answer.
We get all kinds of, we've had everything from
I'm sure you have
things like that to like, whoever it was that said
men
that
in baseball pants.
Bald baseball players.
Bald baseball players.
I can't get on board with that, but that's what she found to be
I forget
sexy.
who said, was it Victor who said like a woman in a long dress? I can't remember. I think it was. Anyway, go on.
What was that song? Long Dress. Oh man. I'm losing all my songs from back up on my old playlist. Okay.
Well, you're from the 60s, right?
I know, please.
Okay.
Can't remember anything else. So second question is, what's the best advice you've ever been given, Mark?
Shut up. I mean, you know what? I mean, I tell you what, best advice I've ever been given. Can I tell you something? This is what's funny. You know that I had a chance to meet with Warren Buffett back when I was about 28 years of age. I don't know if you know who Warren Buffett is. He's one of the wealthiest individuals in the world.
We know. We look young, but we know.
Yeah. And I had, I mean, he's, I don't know, he's worth 70 billion or something like that.
Yeah.
I had a chance to meet with him when I was sit in on a meeting with him when I was about 28 years of age.
Wow.
And I turned it down. And I said, why would I want to meet with some farmer guy from the Midwest? Because I was so cocky and so arrogant. And so I think the greatest advice is advice I was told years ago: shut up and listen and observe everything around you. And it's only taken me about 50 some years to learn that.
I just want to note that Mark Hunter has now hit improv tenet number 2.
Really?
Shut up and listen. Yes. Thank you very much. You must have taken my course. Proceed, Rachel.
This is great. It's like, it's a setup. It's great. So what advice do you wish you had been given?
Well, the advice I was given, all the advice I had, I just never chose to listen. I mean, I just never chose. Here's probably the advice is early on: get with peers, hang with peers, learn from peers. In other words, hang out with really smart people. I think if I had at the age of 22, a mentor that really I allowed myself to become exposed to, I'd be a much different individual today. I wouldn't have gone through the painful lessons I went through. I mean, I've had a very successful career, but I mean, there's so many lessons early in life that was really dumb. Why?
Yeah, and meanwhile, part of your success today could be from being dumb earlier.
Oh yeah. I mean, we do. I mean, we all learn from it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all learn from those. I mean, again, we learn twice as much from the mistakes we make than from the successes we have. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. But I think that's one of the key things is don't worry about your failures. Don't worry about them. The lesson you need to learn is that you learn from it and you move on. I mean, I look at over the course of my business career, I've had so many failures. And yet I look at how some of those failures have led to incredible successes later on down the road. That's huge.
Amen to that.
Yeah,
Amen to
100%.
that. Well, we sadly we have to go. We would like to have you back though.
Yeah, in another 2 years. It only took me 2 years to get on your show.
We called, we emailed, you never responded.
You did not.
We
You
did all
probably
we did all the things. You didn't know who we were. You're like, who are those broads? And now we're the inner circle. So.
I care about the two of you. I really do.
Oh, we really feel your care. We do.
Yes.
We love you. We'd like you to be back. Come back to us.
Yeah, then we could talk about your book. I did try to get into that, but you wanted to talk about the mortuary, and you wanted to talk about media buying and Gina's shit and all that stuff.
Hey, so. I could share with you some other stuff. Next time I'm on the show, remind me to tell you about the last ferry to Bremerton.
Ooh, okay.
In the meantime, why don't you tell us where people can get your book and how they can find you? Well,
Amazon, best place to get the book, Barnes & Noble, bookstores. The book is A Mind for Sales. And best place to find me is thesaleshunter.com. And yes, Hunter's my real last name, thesaleshunter.com.
Awesome. Mark, it's been a pleasure, as always, to have you here with us, the women your mother warned you about. Thank you.
Are we breaking up?
No, we're just, it's not you, it's us. We need some space.
Okay.
To be frank, we're overbooked and we've got to go to the next thing.
Do I need to change my Facebook profile?
No, do not change your relationship status.
Okay.
Just leave it as is. Hey, Warners, thank you for listening to this episode of The Women Your Mother Warned You About, brought to you by Sales Gravy, our sponsor. And for more information about us, you can go to womenyourmotherwarnedyouabout.com. And all the other social places you can find us. Rachel, any final words?
All the social places? You know what she means.
That sounds like a country western song.
All the social places.
All social places. Does it involve a pickup truck?
She was crying.
Honky tonk. You don't want to go there.
She was crying on the back of my truck. Okay.
Warners, thank you so much for listening. And if you would be so kind to share this episode with someone who could use a good laugh and perhaps a few tips on improving their skills as a salesperson.
Or about mortuaries. Awesome. We're out of here, Warners. Bye.
This really will get serious soon.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. I don't think anybody wants it to be serious.